Hey, friends, welcome to the Ancient Health Podcast, where East meets West. I'm your host, Dr. Chris Motley, and today I have my friend that I got to meet down in Phoenix, Arizona at a really cool homeopathic conference called Bio. Her name is Katie Baehring. I want to make sure because it's German and it's got a flair to it. And she is a certified gut health practitioner, and she shares so many fun laughs, but she's also very, very strong in her message about being your own advocate. And I wanted to say thank you so much, Katie, for joining me today. I really appreciate you.
I am so excited to be here.
I think we're going to have really good laughs.
Yes,
and I think that I love when somebody has a really good sense of humor. And I think people who are listening are there's those individuals in your life. You included Katie, right? That you think, man, I love to have this friend in my life, or somebody that makes you kind of giggle and laugh. Like this person's always funny. And when I met you at the conference, I was like, oh, I got to see about her. I got to check into this. And I looked at her page, guys. It's Organic Chaos. It's amazing. And the way she says your scripts, the way you say things are so funny because it relates to you as being a mother and a healthcare practitioner at the same time. And it is stuff that my brain goes through when I'm when I'm working on patients. So I'm going to say kudos to you on that. Good job.
Well, thank you. It's a lot of fun connecting to people over laughter, just because I think it's such a good foundation of just overall well-being, laughter. Yeah.
And just whenever you can, like, power of laughter. And we're going to talk about the power of words and laughter in just a bit. And everybody out there, you know that we like to make it really free flowing and with all the information in this podcast. But there's a few steps I want to go over through in this podcast. But hopefully we get to all of them. We were talking before. We love to talk about being an advocate for yourself. We want to talk about strength in your body, like even how your gut health affects your body, your whole body. We're going to talk about power of words, and we want to talk about regulation, I believe, like parasympathetic, sympathetic, maybe like nervous system regulation. And your page is amazing with all of this information. So everybody, first of all, just go check her page out. It's great. I'm not kidding. Okay. First thing, Katie, I always love to find out about you. Like I used to make this funny thing. I'd be like, Katie, what makes you tick? Go. No, it's
it's like
edit that out. Okay.
Sweating and talking about
no. Sympathetic. No, this is great. This is so super easy breezy between us. Like, tell us about yourself. Like, why did you get in this journey? Why did you come into the health realm?
I feel like so many people in this space have a story and like a background of trying to play their own health detective because they've tried to find all of the answers of the quote unquote, what's wrong with me? Why am I having these symptoms? For me specifically, I could probably pinpoint it back to having breast implant illness. And then it wasn't until people sharing stories online, because I had gone back to plastic surgeons and said, hey, is breast implant illness a thing? And they're like, no, it's like some people experience it. Some people don't, it doesn't affect them. And then I was like, intuitively, I knew something wasn't right. And I think that aspect right there, it's important. Everyone has that intuition to know that something isn't right. So I need to keep digging. And so then I just kind of started to dig more, and women were sharing these stories. And so I started to kind of do a deep dive into breast implant illness. And again, intuitively, I knew something wasn't right with my body, even though going to plastic surgeons and they were saying everything looks fine. It's probably just in your head. And then I think that was like the start of trying to uncover things and starting to focus more on that intuition and digging deeper and almost taking that power back of digging down and understanding that, no, if I am feeling like something isn't right, I'm going to trust that and I'm going to keep digging deeper. So I think that was the start of it all. And then just as years progressed and I had my breast implants removed and I started to talk about nutrition and get my certification as a gut health practitioner. And I started uncovering the layers with gut health. And from that unfolds all of the things like balancing the nervous system and the power of our thoughts and oh, wow, here's another aspect is that
Mm,
our body
mm,
holds trauma.
mm,
And there's so many layers to it that I don't think we're designed to understand that all at once. I
uh,
really think that, you know, little by little, we're able to pull back these layers and learn more and understand and take steps closer and
mm.
then regaining that power.
I love it because out of one root comes many branches. Like God allows you to learn something about yourself, and you start to see all these little snippets, right? And you start to go, man, that's a door I did not open. And I think that's the journey, maybe the adventure of life, where you start to open up these different doors.
Right.
And I'm thankful that there's practitioners out there that do it like you do. When we talk about breast implant illness,
Mm-hmm.
some individuals out there would love to know a little bit more, but how did you know like there was things going on? You had your breast implants, and did you just start getting, fevers or chills? What were your symptoms, and like what made you go, these are making me sick?
I had awful brain fog. And
Mhm.
the one incident where I almost just fell over in front of one of my daughters, and she was very young at the time,
Mhm.
I that's what was the light switch that flipped on for me, where I was like, this is not
Mm.
right. Even though I had gone to my surgeon and I had gone to someone else I live in the Charlotte area,
Mhm.
and he said everything looks fine. You can't believe everything you read on the internet. And I walked away and I was like, well, I mean, he says everything is fine, but I couldn't push it out of my mind, that incident where
Mm.
I was like, something's not right. And breast implant illness is very tricky in the sense where it's just a lot of different symptoms, right? That can be connected to so many other chronic autoimmune issues that you
Mm.
can't necessarily pinpoint breast implant illness until you have them removed and you can see the drastic difference from before and after. And really,
Wow.
I know
Wow.
you know Organic Blondie, Courtney.
Court. Yep. Court.
She was one that had shared um, her story online that actually gave me the courage to search more and do some more digging, because a lot of it's like you sit there and you're like, is this all in my head? Could this maybe just pulling gluten and pulling dairy and maybe that'll fix it? You don't really know until you make that leap, have them removed, and you can compare the before and after.
Yes. 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 I think when you see the changes, because I remember when Courtney had showed like even the implants online. I knew the seriousness of this because I had two patients, Katie, like mm, 7, 8 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but this patient had been a patient from mine for a while, and she was very anxious. She would get sweats, super anxiety, like you said, and brain fog. And she would go, okay, I'm fine right now. And then all of a sudden, I'd forget where I'm at. She'd go,
Mm-hmm.
short term memory loss. Like she would go, I can't even remember what I did yesterday. And at the time, guys, like everybody listening, like when we talk about breast implant illness, I mean, I've heard about it. And I was like, I don't know if it's the best thing for you. Taking it all down and making it concise. In Chinese medicine, there's a couple of acupuncture points, around the chest, Katie, and I kept finding there were lung points and the spleen acupuncture points that were inflamed on her.
Right.
Kept showing like there was toxicities. Well, she went and got them removed, and she showed me a picture of them. The one side that didn't have any inflammation was it still had calcium deposits around it. The other one looked like an old shower curtain. It looked like there was mold growing on the inside of it. And I don't know about you. I'm going to ask you, like, when she got hers removed, you're right. It was a remarkable difference. Like, she had like less brain fog. Is that what your body just sort of felt like it had ease? Is that what happened?
Yeah. And in fact, I'll tell you, my parents came to watch my kids. We live in the Charlotte area now. We're originally from Wisconsin, but they live in Florida. They came up to Charlotte to watch my kids. Well, I went down to Charleston because I found a surgeon. Actually, it was the same surgeon that Courtney went to.
Okay. Yeah.
And because there's a very specific way you have to explant. You have to make sure you get all the scar tissue out. You have to make sure it's scraped a particular the
Mm.
way. Otherwise, that scar tissue can hold all of the toxins in the scar tissue. Your body's still going to be attacking it. And
Wow.
so my parents, and this, love them to death, but my mom was kind of like, oh, here's another thing, another rabbit hole.
Katie's going down the
Yeah.
rabbit hole.
I mean, bless them, they
Oh,
like go along the ride with me, but like they were like, okay, we'll come and watch the kids while you do this. And then
sorry. She's got something called breastplate implant illness.
I
And
know, she's like,
you're like,
another thing
Mom, don't
Katie's
use
doing.
quotation marks. Okay, please. Mom, stop.
It's so true. But I went down, had the surgery, came back 2 days later, and my mom was shocked at the inflammation in my face. She was like, "You look like you again." Like,
Wow.
and it's something where like, when you see a picture before and after, you don't know quite what it is until after, when you're looking at it, you're like, that's the inflammation, where your body is just holding on because it's in this like attack mode.
Yes, attack mode. And she saw the difference. Like she knew like her daughter's back. Like
Yeah,
this
my
is
nose was slimmer, my eyelids, it was just like, it was everything. So it is a very important thing to listen to, that intuition.
wow. So the scar tissue around the breast implants can hold toxins, and if
Mm-hmm.
you leave them in there, your body will still attack them like an autoimmune. So your body essentially is almost like an autoimmune type
Right.
effect.
So you really want to make sure it's not just going to have them removed. Like a lot of women will just go to their original surgeons and they'll just take them out. Okay, whatever, it's done. But they don't understand that they have to get all of the scar tissue, which sometimes attaches to your ribs, and it has to be scraped a specific
Oh,
way. I know.
it's like women go
So,
through enough having babies,
I
and
know,
then
right?
I mean,
Oh,
oh, that would hurt. Okay, I don't want to think
uh-huh.
about. So it would be okay. This is not comparing this, but it is in a way. But like, remember that show, The Pimple Popper Doctor,
Yes.
where they would get a cyst out, and I would never watch it, but my sister would send me videos, and it would
Uh-huh.
just pop up, and then she said, "You have to get the capsule cleaned out
Yep.
because in the capsule." That makes sense. That's what she's saying. She goes, the body could still fill it up with more white blood cells because
Right.
there's more infection in there. Oh, that makes a good sense. When you got this out of your body
Mm-hmm.
and you saw the difference, your mom's like, you look really good, then you became more of an advocate. Did you feel in your heart of hearts, you went, man, I just did that and it actually helped me a whole lot? Did you start having less brain fog and then it started making you investigate more?
Yes. So I started to feel better. And of course, I had that done in 2020, in January of 2020. So before all of the shutdown, everything happened, I had them removed. And then we were March, I was trying to get into a routine of how do I detox? How do I detox properly? I started to jump into those deep dives of how can I fuel my body, eliminate the processed food. And we were on lockdown, so I had nothing but time to kind of just dive into all of these rabbit holes of health and wellness.
Mm.
So that's really how it started to unfold. I was already kind of in it a few years before.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned I had 3 kids in under 3 years. So aside
Wow.
from
Wow.
the breast
Wow.
implants wreaking havoc on my body, I had all of the pregnancy hormones and breastfeeding hormones all going crazy with my
Mm.
body. And on top of that, we had gone through a crazy incident with my husband's family, and my nervous system was shot. My adrenals
Oh
were
no.
shot. Um, I was in this like hurricane of trying to figure out, why am I feeling like wired and tired, and it was a mixture of all of these things. So
Wow.
yeah.
And you got that wired and tired feeling. And so like your nervous system, because people out there are going to identify with this, like, I'm so tired I can't think,
Mm-hmm.
but my mind is always racing
Right.
and I'm always thinking about what the next problem is going to be.
Right.
Ooh. So when you started to see that you were like in a constant fight or flight situation, what happened like when you started to become like more of an advocate, you started investigating, like, I feel this way, you got the breast implants removed.
Mm-hmm.
Did you just focus then on your gut or your diet? What was the first thing that you started to look into and you said, no, I'm going to go address this?
It
and this is where I'm
started,
going to go.
I think it was more before I jumped into gut health. It was because I dabbled a little bit with that actually. I think it was Dr. Axe who talked a lot about it
Mm.
before it was mainstream, where I was like, leaky gut, what is that? You know,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and
Now
then just,
everybody knows.
I
Yeah.
know everyone now it's just like a buzzword in the health space, but I started to just kind of uncover those layers and focus on food and how different foods, even if it's healthy foods, affect us differently. And just because we have different chemical makeups, we have different frequencies in our body,
Oh
and
yeah.
you know how different foods, even if it's healthy, I mean, you could be thinking salmon is so healthy and you're eating it all the time, and you're like, for women, you're like, why can't I lose weight? You know, what is up? And it's so many different factors other than just the typical like counting calories and calories in, calories out, and moving your body. There's
Mm.
so much more that goes into it than that. So I started to uncover those layers about how different foods, even healthy foods, can affect us differently.
Mm.
And I think that was how it just started to all unfold for me.
Mm-hmm. So you like whenever it became, you started to analyze food, started to like figure out which foods healed your body, which ones were probably not the best for you.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things like I always am very appreciative of is like when you do investigate gut health, is that each person's so individual. So you and I know this, like you work with people, with individuals, clients, patients, and you know you'll hear one person say don't do dairy, and the next one will say don't do gluten, and then some patients can handle it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when you started to investigate your foods, did you start to notice that what was like? Did you see a reduction in inflammation? Did you start to see that there were foods that you definitely found out you should not eat, and then there's foods that you were like, no, that didn't really bother me? Was there any incidences like that?
Well, I feel like dairy, because when you talk about all of the hormones and toxins that these animals are exposed to, and then you're putting that in your body, that can,
Oh,
it's not necessarily just the dairy, but it's the aspects behind the dairy and what you're
mm,
fueling yourself with, and those reactions that you might be having to that dairy specifically. So that's
mm,
like a loaded question, right? I think what's so important is empowering people to understand the signals your body's giving you,
mm-hmm,
like racing heart or headaches after a meal or feeling irritable. All of those things were things I didn't know
mm-hmm,
beforehand,
mm-hmm,
that, hey, that's telling me my body's saying this isn't jiving with us right now. We're going to have to set that aside and focus on things that
mm,
really nourish our body. Then our gut
mm.
can break down and we can digest it and we can get those nutrients out of it. So I think those are important factors that I did not even factor in when way back when I was thinking about breast implant illness and just like certain foods that will help me maintain a healthy weight.
Wow, because this could go into different avenues, and I really like talking about it. When you're talking about eating foods that are good for you or not, and investigating whether the food sources are good. And people are saying, why are you going down this trail? Because it is very important in the sense that if you said like dairy, if you got dairy from a source that probably was not the cleanest, because you and I know this, like for everybody out there, if you like investigate like sometimes how cattle are raised
Mm-hmm.
or how produce it, or not produce, but like livestock is raised, and you see what kind of conditions they're in, then you realize like unfortunately those animals get into fight or flight, or they get like they're always producing certain hormones in their tissue. Is that right? They can like
Right.
there's things in their body, right? Like can you like there are extra hormones,
Mm-hmm.
extra toxins, extra infections? Is that what would happen?
Antibiotics. I mean, antibiotics that you're putting in your body that were given to these animals too. So those are factoring and wreaking havoc all over your whole entire system that you might not be connecting those dots
Oh yeah. Yeah.
that are important to understand that. And I do think it's interesting to understand all of this. Knowledge is power, but then understanding where we can't eliminate all toxins 100% of the time. And
Wow.
sometimes there's a time and place where you do have to jump into a cleanse and eliminate things, but then sometimes it's a toxin in itself to have that perfectionist mindset of this is the end all be all. This is how I'm going to have to be for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
So with a lot of things, there is that fine line of understanding, okay, when is it appropriate for me to do
Yeah.
this? When it is appropriate to step away and just kind of, you know, rest and digest and
No,
maintain
truly.
that balanced nervous system.
What were I love it. I want to go into this realm of, like you say, toxicity mindset,
Hmm.
where you're always looking at certain foods where they could be disadvantageous to you. For instance, like when I had heavy amounts of Lyme disease, I could not drink coffee.
Hmm.
And for anybody out there, it can be very daunting to think I have to give up dairy. I have to give up
Right.
my French fries. I'm not kidding. People get super upset about this
Yes.
stuff. You know that they're like, wait, I can't have my creamer. And then you and I would look at it and say, there's nothing wrong with dairy itself. We're not saying that at
Right.
all. We are saying is like, for instance, um, I'm always careful about where you get your dairy from
Hmm.
because I don't want to get too picky. This is how it gets. You're right. You and we're gelling on this one.
Yeah.
There's reports even on like LymeDisease.org where they find that spirochetes can live in certain amounts of dairy if you don't pasteurize it or if it's raw. And you go, well, I don't want to tell everybody not to drink the dairy they want. That's up to them. But then you're
Uh-huh.
like, you can get overworked about it. And
Right.
as a practitioner, I don't want to do that. I don't want to like
Right.
get overwhelmed because it happens to us too. So as you started to go down this trail and you went, okay, I can't be overworked about this. I can't bombard my brain. Did you go deeper? Because you talk a lot about genes, and I'm not trying to sidestep this too much, but
Hmm.
like you eat certain foods,
Hmm.
you find out it gives inflammation, and you talk a lot about genes and such.
Hmm.
Um, do you find a lot of genetic stuff is like intriguing to you and
Hmm.
like really explained a lot about you?
Yeah, so there is there is a really big connection between the MTHFR gene mutation and breast implant illness. And
Really?
yeah, so
Go down that route. I want to hear this.
when
This is
you
great.
have that, so I have both strands, which a lot factors into what turns them on, what turns them off in the sense of your detoxification pathways. Of course, if you're having exposure to a lot of different toxins and your body just can't keep up, it can't detox the way it was God made our bodies to detox and for us
Mm.
to feel good. So there is that connection, and there was a surgeon. So there's a breast implant illness Facebook group that has, I think now it's over 100,000 women.
Whoa.
When I joined it, I think it was maybe like 70,000. Now it's past 100. And what's cool about that group is they
Mhm.
have different chapters. So according to, I know in the United States for sure. And so then people meet up in those chapters where they can talk about surgeons. But there
Oh,
is one plastic surgeon who will check to see if you have the MTHFR gene mutation.
mhm, mhm.
You say it
Say
like
that three
50
times fast,
times.
Katie.
I know. I'm laughing because like the community, it looks like a swear word,
Yeah, yeah.
like a,
MTHFR.
yeah,
Everybody's like,
yeah, yeah.
I had a
But
person come up with a T-shirt that said, "Get that MTHFR gene out of the way," and I went
I
like, I was like,
know. I know. It's
yeah,
one of the things like my community we laugh about because we're like, that's how I see it. And you're
yeah,
like, yeah, that's how I see it.
yeah. I
But
thought it was a joke first time. Yeah,
I
go, go. No.
know. But he'll test for that genetic mutation specifically because he'll advise his patients to not even go through with having that surgery because of having that genetic mutation can
Wow.
affect how those are in your body. And when you just think of, breast implants and other toxins, injectables that people are putting in, you just kind of wonder if you have that genetic mutation and you're susceptible to not being able to detoxify appropriately, it's
It's like,
affecting your body. And of course, that would make a difference between, well, why can't I do these things, but my neighbor can and not have any issues? That factors in.
whoa. So this would be like in our reasoning. Okay. So you got the breast implant illness. You have a
Mm-hmm.
doc that does a gene test. The gene test would give you the indication that you have a recessive gene like the
Right.
MTHFR. And then if we had the MTHFR gene and say like there's a few of them, there's a few of those that
Yeah.
become, right? So they could be recessive, which means you're not detoxifying well.
Right.
And so does that give us the answer, like when you were saying like my gut health is off, my brain fog is there? Because not only does your body not able to take care of the toxins out of your breast implants, but also the other toxins. Is that what's happening?
It's a big factor, I believe. And it's one of those things where you're like, what came first, the chicken or the egg?
Mm-hmm.
Because you find this circle of possibilities of what it can be, but they all just cohesively work together to either optimize your body or make it a big mess.
It is a big mess. And I want people out there never to be overwhelmed when we talk, because there's a lot of information, but I don't want to go too far down, because we'll get into this whole genetic talk and people are like, why are you guys talking about this? Like, I am trying to drive to work and you're talking about genes. Anyway, but when you found out you had it through the doctor,
yeah,
and did it give you some form of, like you say, top advocacy for yourself? Like you went, oh, no wonder I've got all this stuff.
Yeah. Well,
wow.
What's interesting is you say that and then you mention it to, let's say, you go to a general practitioner and you mention it and they just kind of look at you like, huh? No, that's not gonna, yeah. Like, yeah, that's fine. I mean, because if you're put under anesthesia, that can affect, if you have the MTHFR gene mutation, it can affect, if you do the laughing gas at the dentist, that can affect.
Completely.
So it's just a lot of things, like I said, becoming your own health advocate so that you can ask those questions that are really important if you're about to have surgery, or just to know about yourself so that you can make the choices that will help your body to function the way it was meant to.
Truly, that's a great point. That is a really good point, because I remember I had two patients, one and another. My mom is not the patient, but she was involved, like in this type of talk, where even MTHFR, when you have something foreign in your body, you can't get rid of it. Like you said, injectables. Like I had patients that would tell me, I've had them for a long time, says I can't ever get a flu shot. Now, I'm not getting into pro-vax or anti-vax. What I'm saying is, like, some people said I couldn't get it. And my mom, when she came from Korea, she had a smallpox, and you could tell she had reactionary to it. But if you got their gene reports back, they have heavy genetic variants in MTHFR that probably doesn't allow them to get rid of the chemical compounds within.
Right.
Right? Is that right? Like, and
right.
So when she went to the hospital a while back, my mom did, they were asking about flu shots. I said, Doc, I'm not doing disrespect, but my mom, I gave him the gene report. Like, my mom has a gene issue and she doesn't respond very well to these things.
Right.
And he was a neurologist. He goes, oh yeah, no, we're not giving it to her, because he had an idea about that. But in the general, like you said, sometimes practitioners, doctors don't even address it, right?
No.
Too much.
And it's such an important aspect. Like, it should be. Like, they should know about it. They should, understand it. Yep, that's a huge portion.
They should understand. And so when you started to find out you had MTHFR, you started to put all the pieces together. Like, what were some of the things that you said, okay, I got MTHFR, I've got some gut issues, I had the breast implant illness, all this toxins. What were some of, like, the key steps that you loved? Like you said, I did a whole bunch of things, but these are my top 5 that I really love, or top 1 that you love to do, that you notice it moved the needle.
I think, I think first and foremost, the biggest thing for me was learning how to balance your nervous system. That, I think, is the biggest piece to the puzzle that so many people overlook. They want the next cleanse. They want this next supplement. They want all of the red light therapy, all of the things that, what are you doing? As someone on social media, people are always asking, what do you recommend for this? But it's a very simple piece, and a very big piece to the puzzle is learning how to balance your nervous system first and foremost, and then start factoring in these other things. Because if you're not in a state of rest or digest, your body's still, any cleanse, anything that you're adding into it, it's saying, no, 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 attack. I can't heal. I can't process. I can't do the things I meant to do because everything is a threat. So understanding that, getting that state of a balanced
Mm,
nervous system is so important. And so things like walking right away in the morning, getting that morning sunlight, and having good conversations with a friend on that walk, and reading.
balance.
Yes, reading before bed instead of scrolling, which I'm guilty of because I sometimes laugh a lot when I'm scrolling. I don't know what my algorithm is, but it's really funny stuff. But like stepping away
That's good
from
for your
that,
cortisol.
I know it
The
is.
only problem is now you have arthritis in your thumbs, Katie, because you keep scrolling and you're like, look at Katie with the bad thumbs. Sorry,
And
it's
the
a
blue
joke.
light. Yep,
Joke.
yep. So I think that is such a big piece that I love talking about is maintaining, learning how to maintain that balanced nervous system, how to handle stress so that you're not having your cup that's constantly overflowing with any little trickle of stress that you're getting, but make sure that you're
Mm,
emptying out that overload of stress so you can breathe. Okay, now my body feels safe. Now my body can detox properly,
that's a
handle a
good
little bit of
point.
stress. Yeah.
That's a good point. If you can handle a little bit of stress, like all the toxins, all the detoxes, all the programs, and like you just said, that if the body's ability to handle the load and you
Mm-hmm.
start practicing mindset, that's a really good point. I'm thinking this through with everybody out there because uh, there are times like I personally find that if I get up in the morning, we scroll and we'll like, oh, we want to look on what's going on with social media.
Right.
Um, but I would challenge myself. I'm not challenging everybody out there. It's like if you get up in the morning and your first 30 minutes could not be in stillness or could not be like enjoying outside or taking a walk, uh, like that would give us an indication that our nervous system is dysregulated. And when you started to join into that mindset, like when you started saying, okay, I've got to get a healthier mindset, I'm realizing that the power of my thoughts, the power of my words, is that was going on in your heart? You go,
Yes.
like, this is as important or more important than all the detoxes you could do, all the programs you could do. Can you talk about that? Like some of the things you love to do, like mindset, even if it's like, oh, I just like to go ground. I mean, these are what people need to know
Yeah.
because everybody's overworked and stressed.
Right. Well, and also just through the lens of being a mom, and what I want my kids to learn is the power of your words and your thoughts. The like the cells in your body literally change to words of
Wow.
love and affirmation and
Mm.
versus hate and frustration. And so we really try to work, and I am not perfect. Like this is a constant practice in our house. And sometimes, like I said, in the summer, we are all in it, just fighting to survive.
God, you're like the next scene is you're doing this. You're like, oh no, and your hands are just on. You're like, and I thought you were gonna say this, Kate. I thought you'd be like, because when you're perfect, it's kind of hard to make a mistake, and I had to work through that. It's something I've had to work through.
It's so
No.
true. I don't ever want people to like watch my channel to think like, oh, she's got it all together. I do not. I do not. I'm practicing. I am trying to practice what I preach. And we are just trying to do the best we can that day. But
I
I was
love it.
saying, I share with my kids because, the things that they'll say are like, oh, I could never. I'm so bad at this. And I'm like, don't even say that. You can't
Yeah.
even say that because your body is listening and it's just going to follow what you're saying. If you're saying, you'll never do this, you'll never get to be this person or like this person, your body's just going to follow and believe what you're saying.
Oh, and that is the truth. Like I was reading, there's a good book you may have read it, but there's one called "How Emotions Are Made,"
Mm-hmm.
and if we all knew, and I'm just saying this not to sound smart, like I got my gua sha instrument, it's my gua sha. I
Yes.
rub all my adrenal points while I'm doing interviews. I'm a
That's
nerd.
good.
But the power of words, like to the extent that she would say that if you say something like, I can't accomplish that, she even goes in depth and very, very logistical, saying that our bodies will create certain proteins, they create certain types of compounds and chemicals. Is that right? That literally could shape your DNA and shape
Mm-hmm.
parts of your brain to actually accommodate what you just said. And
Right.
I'm pretty dumbfounded by that. And I think you're right. So you tell them like, hey, we got to watch our talk and we got to watch the way we think. Is that what you're telling
Mm-hmm.
them?
Oh, yeah. And
Wow.
even, I mean, you factor in, like I mentioned before, all the different layers of this holistic lifestyle and teaching and understanding, right? We're all teachers, we're all learning from one another, we're learning from ourselves, but like vibrational frequency, that factors in as well. And
Oh,
just
yeah.
when you're feeling like tense, you walk into a room and you're feeling tense, everyone else can feel it, whether they know to pinpoint it on that or not. But that factors
Yes.
into your cells and what your body is feeling and listening, and all of those factors all play a role in overall health.
Wow. Do you feel okay? So when you had breast implant illness and when you started getting better, you started taking the steps to clean things out. Were you more aware of those situations, of those times when you said, "Oh, I don't emotionally frequency based, like walking into a room or being around certain individuals or certain things, or at work or a job," and you go, "Man, I can tell this is not working for me, or it is working for me." But do you feel like you're getting more sensitive in a good way, like you were reducing the infections and toxins, and now your body's becoming more aware of what it likes and what it doesn't like?
I think the frequency and the vibrational, the vibe that you're giving off or what you're feeling from other people, that aspect didn't pop into my radar until probably about 6 months ago, maybe a little bit longer.
Mm,
At that Desk Bio conference, my
mm,
goodness, that
that was a
was
good.
that was everything everything I needed, and I didn't know I needed. Just to
Oh,
hear everyone speak, yourself included, just
thank you.
collectively, just was what I needed to feel like, gosh, this all these dots are connecting, and it just made sense to me. So to answer your question, back when in 2020, when I was dealing with breast implant illness, I didn't even, I had no clue about vibrational frequency and the power of our words. That was just one aspect that started to trickle in gradually, just about
Mm.
8 months ago. But it's a huge factor because I feel like that plays a huge role in just balancing your nervous system.
Truly, I'm with you 100%. I remember when I first started, with healthcare and just any type of avenue in the realm I'm in, and I love Chinese medicine, but there's still that portion of us that we still look at the world physically, of course,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just what we are. Like we're inflamed, we don't feel good, our joints hurt, our
Right.
bodies hurt. But I'm asking, I'm not trying to like get preachy. I'm asking, like, do you ever feel that now that you look at the world like they say through like frequency eyes, and
Mm-hmm.
people wonder about that, and it is like to the point where you could feel some vibrational patterns off somebody
Mm-hmm.
else, and it will change you. And I love to think about it as two wires in a wall of your house, where if
Mm-hmm.
one's conducting the light, switch, and another one's running right beside it, they will naturally affect each other. The energy of each copper wire. But all that to say, we can't be in a world where we're around other people all day in a city or in a town and not think that we're going to have some form of effect or influence by the energy of other people.
Right.
And this is not to sound profound. I'm asking, like, when you started to look about this eight months ago, did you start to look at even your clients, yourself, your family through different eyes? You're saying, man, their health is completely affected by the vibe of people
Mm-hmm.
around them. Do you ever
Mm-hmm.
find that out, like with people you work with and yourself?
Yes. I mean, well, and I mean, you talk about clothing and the things that you're putting on your body, and, that's designed to either help or hurt the
Oh,
frequency of your body.
talk about
Um,
that. This is
just
great. Okay.
biblically speaking, with linen, and that has a frequency of 5,000, and then wool has a frequency of 5,000 and they flow in opposite ways. So you're never supposed to wear them together because they'll cancel each
Ooh.
other out. But you look at, just by design, when you look at the scope of what we are exposed to with toxins in our air, in our water, in our food, and then what's fashionable and what the fashionable clothing is made up of, you want to get a jump start ahead of understanding how it all affects your body.
So when you had like the wool or the linen, um, there's products or there's material that they could wear that could actually be bad for them. So they those two can't be worn together, right?
Right,
So
because
they
they
cancel
cancel
each
each
other.
other out.
Oh, so wow, that's pretty cool because that's like in the biblical times they would say like in certain
Yep.
types of the law they would say don't wear these material.
Yes, because they
Oh,
flow in opposite directions. They'll cancel each other out. And then you have
heavens.
neutral, like organic cotton is neutral. So it can be worn with wool or with linen.
Oh, so you can
Hmm.
mix the fabrics together if you wanted to.
If it's neutral. Yeah.
Oh my word. Okay, this is how good this can be. Okay. So you go further, and people out there are going to be like, "You guys are two peas in a pod."
I know.
Okay. What about colors
Okay,
of
that's one of my
your
favorite
wardrobe?
things. That is one of
I want to
my
hear.
favorite things,
Yep.
is talking about color theory and how just color theory is just based on like the tone of your skin, your eye, um, your hair color, as you were younger, growing up, and then just aesthetically, it's what colors look good on you, but from a nervous system standpoint, how people perceive you when you're wearing the colors that bring harmony to
Yep.
your body,
Yep.
and how you feel, people perceive you as safe. So that's like a whole different aspect of incorporating clothing, incorporating color theory, and um, demanding, a strong presence when you're giving a presentation. And it's
Oh,
something
yeah.
where people are like, what is it about that person that I just really like or I vibe with?
That's because if you're giving a presentation, you were saying this too. This makes it an important point. The colors that need to match you, like the colors that need to intertwine with you personally, like
Yes.
maybe your skin tone, your energetic level,
Yes.
and so you could actually have like a certain color scheme.
Yes.
I like to use color scheme,
They
color
have different
palette.
seasons. That's what they color specialists have. There's the 4 seasons and then there's sub seasons. So then you could be a little bit, so like the 4 seasons, summer, fall, winter, spring, but then you have sub seasons where they could kind of blend into the other season.
Ooh, so
Yeah.
what's your favorite? What's your color?
So,
Colors.
I did a fun experiment where I
Yeah.
went on ChatGPT and just asked, you put in a picture without makeup, your hair back, just like, what is my color analysis? And I posted that on my Instagram channel, and someone who lives in London was like, I'm a color analyst. I would love to do your colors. So we hopped on a virtual call and she did the whole color theory. And so she said I was a spring, light
Mm.
spring. So that's like a blend between summer and spring.
So it'd be like spring would be like greens,
Greens,
summer
blues. It's kind of
blues.
it's the undertone of the color. So of course there are reds for every season, but
Hmm.
is it warmer or is it neutral leaning or cooler? When
Yeah,
it's
that's a good point.
Yeah, when it's winter and when it's summer, it's the cooler undertone. So that's when you would like look at your veins to see if it's blue or green or a combination of the two, then that's neutral. And then
Mm.
they do a whole thing of how they put your face in the colors to pinpoint what are your best colors.
That is cool. I love. Okay, I know we can go down this route because
Yep.
I had a friend of mine who did. She said coloring for me. This is a while back, and she said that you shouldn't wear silver. You should wear more gold. I don't really wear a lot of gold or jewelry,
Yeah.
but she said you're a little more of a almost a late fall, like a lot of earth tones. And I did notice that whenever I tried the experiment, because I would just wear like a white shirt and I try to wear more of the tones, and people would say, "Hey, I really like that color on you."
Yeah.
And I made note of it. And I was like, "Oh, maybe that stuff, is working." Because there's a great book for everybody listening going, "Why are they talking about colors?" But there's a truth to it. It's like if you came in and you felt safe and
Yes.
you were exuding that, that means that literally the color that's coming and radiating off your body, the reflection off your body, your skin,
Yes.
your hair, your eyes, your nose, everything is somehow intertwining with my nervous system and creating some kind of calming effect
Right.
in a frequency range. And
Yes.
to me, it's like it can get that in depth to the point where there's a book called Mitochondria Manifesto. It's a really good book. And it talks about at certain seasons that your chromosomes will emit certain forms of color because of the shift in all the little piezoelectric crystals in your DNA. And they were saying that like certain seasons would have green or blue, just like Chinese medicine or
Right.
Ayurvedic would say. And
Right.
I was like, that is pretty astounding. And down to the point where if you wore something, like let's say you got your colors, do you feel better wearing them?
Yes. Well, one, like as a woman and wanting, I'm in my 40s, anti-aging, the color reflection evens out like the wrinkles and the shadows. Because if you're wearing something
Mm,
that doesn't really jive, you're reflecting the wrong colors up onto your face. So even just from that aspect, so then, you know, you're looking and you're like, wow, this looks great. Like I feel my skin tone is all even and
mm.
you feel great. Then you're giving off that vibe that you just feel good. You don't even know why.
That's great because Katie's walking in the room going, I've got to keep this glow.
I know.
This is my ticket out of here. Okay. Now,
That's so right.
everybody out there's listening going, is he serious or being funny? I was like, oh, guys, I'm just making jokes in here, but it's all seriousness. And whenever I'd wear olive or
Yes.
green, I noticed people would say, people who I never expect to say anything about clothes are like, hey man, that looks like that's a good color on you. And um, I think that if we are beings that could be down to the minute details of frequency or wavelengths coming off
Right.
your clothes, even like the music you listen to, does that have an effect too?
Yes.
Yeah.
You want to go down rabbit holes, so we don't have time.
Well,
But I
but
mean,
we
just
still got to go over a little more things, girl. We got to go to adrenaline. Gut. We already did some gut health. We're gonna go over hormones in just a second, but let's talk just real quick about music. I want to hear about
just
this.
the music that you're listening to. I mean, movies now, the music that's behind the movies and the stuff you're watching too affects your frequency. Like if you're sitting there watching, now here's where I'm a double standard. I will sit and watch docudramas and
Mm-hmm.
those put me to sleep in the best way. My husband doesn't
Really?
understand it. He's like, "What?" We're talking about
You
like
know you're not
crime.
gonna watch it. You're just gonna fall asleep. So why do we put it
I
on?
know, bless his heart. But it'll be some crime. I don't know. It's like the voices and the speaking kind of lulls me to sleep. But if you're watching something like a movie that's high intense, your body's like stuck in this fight or flight. It creates this like tense. How can your body rest and restore and get ready to sleep in a way where it can rejuvenate for the next day or fight off infection and disease
Yeah.
and all of those things? So music, how that it's programmed and designed today without getting into conspiracies or anything like
Oh, it's designed.
that.
We can go down that rabbit hole, but I'll say this: like to think that they're not designed, and that yeah, we can go a lot of
I
rabbit
mean,
trails on that.
even
But
just music was tuned now to be a certain frequency to kind of mess with your dysregulated system. And
mhm.
that's all by design so that you are either craving more of that or it can't feel rested and calm at peace. That's why they say just getting out into nature right away, those are all calming, high frequency things that can help balance the nervous system. That's
Absolutely.
free, by the way. You talk about things that, aside from all the gadgets that I love, red light therapy, my grounding sheets, my vibrational plate, like just getting outside in nature and hearing the birds chirping or going on a hike, all of those things are things that can offset those bad vibes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm tracking because if we think about going outside and being able to get red light from the sun, if we're able to go out and ground and put our feet on the earth, and then you think about music, and then I look at, I mean, my nephews and my nieces, and I'm not talking on them, but like to the point where they'll be on YouTube, and then you see about the style of music, even on kids programs, how they
Right.
use certain beat patterns.
Yes.
And I do music. I have a band I'm part of, but it's like flamenco style, and
Yes.
there is a total difference um, in syncope and beat patterns, and you start to see it over. Even if you listen to something that's back in the 50s or something in the 70s, 80s, um, those kind of things have power over you in some way,
Right.
and you have to be careful because I know you were talking about this, and this is a whole trail we're going on. But like the effect of music, this is probably where you're getting at. The effect of music on the mind, certain organs, certain glands are really heavily influenced by music and tones,
Mm-hmm.
which is why like I can't watch like horror films. I can't watch um, certain things or listen to them because I can tell part of my brain gets agitated to the point. Do you find this? When I had Lyme infections really bad, I know, and we did scans, and I had it down here around my ears. Hey, my ears did not feel good. I'd always felt like I had muffled, and I had
Right.
felt tinnitus. But it would even be more pronounced when I heard something that was negative. And I
Wow.
always thought it was kind of weird. I mean, I wasn't like, okay, I can handle. I'm an adult. If I saw like a horror movie, I should be okay. But it like affected me even more after, and I never forgot it. I never went back. I never really watched horror films anyway. I just want to say this though, like this is what I think people really want to hear because they're thinking, what part of your life were your nervous system dysregulated? And you're saying, A, my gut health, of course, but
Right.
people's vibrations, right?
Yes.
Music I listen to,
Mm-hmm.
even the clothes I wear can actually affect you.
Yeah. All around.
Crazy. Okay, we have more combos we're gonna have in the future. Okay, so what about porn? I know everybody's out there is like, would you please just get over the colors? No,
Until they try it, and then they're just going
yeah,
to be like, what?
exactly. You know that's gonna change their world.
I
It's like
know.
they're gonna do it, and watch everybody out there. Listen, go get a color. Uh,
Yes.
what would you call them? Color therapist?
It's
I
a
mean,
color
seriously,
analysis or color theory.
color theory.
Yep.
Okay, color theory. We're gonna follow organic chaos. So we're gonna check and see what you say on this. What about hormones? Because your thing is all about female hormones. You say you're in your 40s.
Right.
I'm not talking about age or picking on you about that. I'm saying with
Yeah.
your age and your hormones, and you have 3 kids. How
Yes.
old are they? Are they
My
semi-grown?
oldest,
Yeah.
my oldest is 11. I have
Okay.
2 girls and a boy. My son is my youngest. So I have my oldest is 11, and then I have a 10-year-old, and then I have an 8.5-year-old, almost 9-year-old.
Whoa. Okay,
Yeah,
so you're gonna have the beauty of that is that you're gonna be able to have all 3, and they'll be going to college,
I know.
and you're gonna be like still youthful and happy. So you can
I'll
still,
be like, what just happened?
yeah.
I talk about it. My nieces and nephew just graduated from high school, and I'm like, what's going to happen when my son, like, we're just going to be like, what just happened the past how many years with the
It's
3
gonna
of them?
totally, and you need to prepare now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna make you a suggestion. It's called year-round cruise trips.
Ooh.
I'm sorry, I'm telling you, I don't have kids, but I would get one of those cruise lines where I could continuously hop on to one the other and just be able to go
That
around,
sounds,
get some food made for me.
I love it.
I'm sorry, everybody's out there like Dr. Motley for crying out loud. Anyway, okay,
Except
so
I did used to work on a cruise line, so I already lived that life for a while.
you're like not now anymore,
I
but
know.
you're gonna give me some tips about which ones I should go to.
Yes. Yep.
Um, so with the hormone issue,
Mm-hmm.
what are some of the biggest things that you address or you like to talk about on yours? Is it the menopause? Is it just hormonal shifts, or is it like emotional hormones, or all of it?
I think it's all of it just because, like I talked about earlier, just it's all connected, right? When
Mm-hmm.
your cortisol is out of whack, then that affects certain hormone. You can't sleep, and then it just is all connected. And so I think when you understand from the scope that all of those things are connected, your hormones, it's going to impact you
Mm-hmm.
greatly. Your sleep, when you're not sleeping, then you're just going to be a wreck. You're going to be
Yes.
irritable. You're not going to be able
Mm-hmm.
to digest. You're not going to be able to regulate your nervous system. So all of those things change seemingly overnight when, as women, we're in our 40s. You're just like, what the heck happened? Like, my metabolism isn't working. I'm not sleeping. I'm really irritated. I love my husband, but like, get away, like those things. And you're just like,
Don't touch
I
me.
know. You're like,
Get
what
away.
happened?
Yeah.
And it does feel like it's overnight. But all of the things that we did talk about, like the toxic exposure, and like I was saying, the empowerment of becoming your own health advocate, with still understanding that there are specialists that can pinpoint certain things, or
Mm.
maybe there's something you're trying to figure out about yourself. Like we talked a little bit about trapped emotions, those are factors that maybe people don't consider, but they all have an effect on your body and your hormones and how
Oh yeah.
it can regulate. So those are,
Those are your hacks. I love. Not to interrupt. I think that when you talk about hormones, do you find like you've had 3 kids?
mm-hmm,
I think it's funny when you say like okay, just get away from me. But I'm very aware, because I've been working on people for a long time. But it's not that I know women. I'm not saying that at all. I'm
mm-hmm,
saying that the amount of injury and help though that having a kid has,
mm-hmm,
especially when it comes to chi
mm-hmm.
and hormonal rebuilding, the wear and tear. I hate to use that term. Maybe people say don't like me to use that term, but the wear and tear it would have on your body. And I say this with all love to my male peeps out there, all the guys out there. I'm not saying this to be mean, but a lot of times I find that ladies that come in the office, they get a little upset sometimes because they're emotionally going through something, they're hormonally going through something. And, some of the guys are like, well, just take a walk or do something like this and get out there and do this. It's like, it's going to fix it. I'm like, it's not going to fix that at
Right.
all, because there's too much dysregulation, that hormonal pattern. And I'm with you that whenever you start to see the shifts in yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and something's not right, that's
Right.
what the real energy, the real power comes in. It's like, oh, I should not be crying. It's okay to cry, but I should not
Right.
be crying on every small thing, or I should not be doing that. And that's the one thing I really love about your page, is because you do that, and you make some levity to it too.
I try to.
You tried, hey, but okay, so the hormones, like, it all can be affected by hormones. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that when you talked about like emotions and how it shifts you, in this day and age,
Mm-hmm.
so there are so many things that we could do to, like, definitely heal us, get us to grounding, and get us out there. Um, but do you find it's going to be harder and harder to regulate? I think we can, like, definitely, like, what the things you're advocating, but the way the world's going with all the AI and stuff like that, do you think it's gonna be harder?
I can't even think that way. I just have to focus on today, which I feel like is a really good lesson for everyone, to just kind of take it a step at a time, like just focus on the present. I get so wrapped up into um, the, conspiracy thinking and what if, that then that itself just causes this dysregulation in my own body. But
Mhm.
yeah, it is a very scary time to, you just don't. So I truly believe, like, the simple, the stepping away from when you're feeling like, oh my gosh, like all of these things going on in the world, or AI, or all of these possibilities, I'm going to have to step away and just feel grounded. I don't think we are meant to know everything about all of these people across the world going on with, you just think back in biblical times and times before even just like social media, we're like kind of meant to just be in a village and help each other out. And getting back to the basics like that, I
Oh
feel
yeah,
like
totally.
we
I think it's real.
overcomplicate things with, like, um, just so many times we overcomplicate things, and it can just be so simple. Like, it was just meant to be, get back to the basics of feeling like you're in control and not getting wrapped up in so much of the other things going on.
I love, like, simplicity is key. I think it's really amazing in our lives where we're always wanting to get to the next good thing in our life. We want to expand,
Right,
we want to grow. And then if you really look at as you get older, I noticed this. It's like, for me personally, some people don't. I'm like, I really do want to return more simplicity. And you
right.
think you try to keep striving for it. But it is kind of tough, isn't it, though? Okay. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the world, there's going to be this the dysregulation of our nervous system, but we have the food system has really been in an
Right,
upheaval. Our blood sugar is dysregulated. Our insulin levels are truly, and for ladies especially, having kids and then thinking that that's going to help support their immune system and their hormonal system, and then all the stress. I was like, it's like a perfect storm,
right.
and you're
And
having
just
higher rates of depression. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
the emotional overload of just like caring for the family and trying to find that balance of like teaching your kids what is poison and what, what is going to nourish your body, but then also know that they're going to be invited to birthday parties and they're going to be having cupcakes with blue icing, and you're like, oh my gosh, no.
Yep.
But it is a reality. And like I said at the beginning, there is that fine line of knowing when it's okay to indulge and teaching them how to know when, okay, is this the best choice to choose this for my body, or should I have something that has protein in it first, and
Mm-hmm.
then noticing how my body responds.
Oh,
So,
I agree. I think the biggest joy. I mean, I have a little nephew, and he's hilarious. I give him stuff that's anti-parasitic, and he'll be like calling me, and he's like, "Dude, I just saw some parasites in my poop," and he's like young. And I think it's funny, but some people are like, "That's ridiculous and gross." But I think that'd be a victory as a parent. I think
right.
for yourself and for parents out there that you think that what you're doing is not making a difference. The hardest thing is that you're a health advocate. You're advocating for yourself, but when you're advocating for your kids, I think that'd be the biggest journey. And I think that parents, especially mothers, are always second guessing themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They literally think that, did I do this to do well for my kids? They will
Right.
say, I think, hate to say it, other family members think they're crazy giving their kids all these minerals and vitamins, and like, why did they don't need that? They just need to like get outside and drink some water and stuff. And I'm like, no. And so, no, like when they come in and they bring their kids in and their kids are checking out really well, I have to encourage the mother, you're doing a really good job.
And
And
I
then
bet
they
she
look,
needs to hear that.
oh,
Yep.
they have to. Sometimes they almost break down and cry. They're like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, yeah, no, like, no, you're doing a good job.
Right.
Because these kids from another parent who don't do the same thing have 50 or 60% more problems.
Right.
And I just wanted us to encourage people out there. You can advocate for yourself and you can advocate for your kids. And please don't think that what you're doing is not making a difference, because it totally does.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. And that's what you're doing. And I have a good conversation with you. This is great. We had to do this more often. This is fun.
I would love that.
Next time I'm going to show you my color schemes.
Yes.
Pure salmon, mauve, and just kidding, guys. I wouldn't do that. I don't know my color scheme. I do have an idea, but okay. So I know time's precious. Wow, we went over. Let us know where we can find you
Mm-hmm.
and where people can come to see you and get in touch with you.
The best place, I think the easiest place, is on Instagram, organic.chaos with 2 S's, because I'm chaotic. And I don't know, it's a great community. We laugh a lot. It's a lot of like-minded people from across the world. And it's a very sweet community. So, yeah.
I was looking at your chip page right now, and it's so good. You guys, I mean, I've been looking at it. I have these 3 screens here. I'm like, you guys got to look at her stuff. It's so great. Really, thank you so much for joining us today. I
Yeah,
really
thank
appreciate it.
you.
And okay, so one more question though, and this is nothing crazy. I was like,
Sure.
I like to ask, like, what's your favorite music?
I love Broadway music.
Okay, Broadway.
So, Broadway. Yep.
Broadway.
That's
What you like to listen to? What's your favorite hobby?
Well, so I was a photographer, professional photographer, and I love doing photography for fun.
Luckily, like for fun, not
Yeah.
for weddings.
No, and I
Now,
think it takes the fun out of it when you're getting paid to do it.
yeah.
So when I'm able to just have fun doing it, and it's just my creative side. So photography for sure.
Oh, that's why you like to be visual. You like to see things.
Yes.
Okay, this is
Yep.
great. Um, okay, so everybody out there, if you love this content, which I do, I think this is a great combo. We talked about, how to be an advocate for yourself. If
Right.
you are having anybody out there that, has a trouble of, thinking that they can't do anything for themselves, send them Katie's page, and we're really appreciative for everybody out there listening today. And Katie, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Everybody out there, hit the like and subscribe if you like this information. And if you want to hear us talk about more stuff with Katie, send us some comments. Send her some comments. Maybe we can get a list of things for the next conversation we have. But from all of us here at the Ancient Health Podcast, we really appreciate it. I know we joked a little bit today, but that's fun in it, and we have to have some fun. And we appreciate you, Katie. And remember, guys, advocate for yourself. Truly, you can do a lot to heal yourself up. And then when you go down that road, you're going to find like-minded people like they do here in the groups that Katie has. And what will happen is they'll give you all the referrals of people out there that will help you, that are like-minded. And then you start to go, where didn't I find these people before?
Right.
You just have to advocate for yourself. The first step is to find out how you need to heal. Okay? All right, guys, take it easy. Love y'all.